What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Clint's Hot Props. This episode is powered by Cloud Bet. That's right. Shout out Cloud Bet. They're the new sponsor of the podcast. We are taking a look at odds and props for UFC 319 using that platform. So make sure you guys are checking out the link in the description below. There's a full-on rollout welcome platform for you guys using CloudBet, up to $2,500 in bonuses and rewards and things of that nature using promo code Die Hard MMA, you guys will get access to this thing. There's also a cash vault that at the end of your promo code window, then if you've bet a certain amount, there's extra cash incentives. It's awesome. The welcome mat that they have rolled out for us as Die Hard MMA fans is absolutely spectacular. So click the link in the description below, use promo code Die Hard MMA, get signed up at CloudBet, and let's talk about some props at UFC 319. Now, one of the things you may notice when you roll on over to CloudBet is that most of their stuff is automatically set in decimal format, and for us, United States gamblers, we're used to the USA version of the odds, the minus ones, the plus 100, whatever. The decimals are hard to read sometimes. The thing you need to remember, just a little trick for you, 2.0 is even money. If something is set at 2.0, that means it's exactly even money. If it's under that, you got to do math to figure out what the price tag is. But if it's above that, all you've got to do is step down one number. That's like a quick little hack for you. So if the number says 20.5, then that's plus 1950. All you got to do is remove that one decimal point, and it's the same thing for you there for your American odds. So quick, easy, and dirty way for you to kind of remember that and get into it. So for example, the first prop I want to kind of talk to you about is Dion Barboza via decision. It is 3.48 in decimal odds, which means that is plus 248 in American. I think Dion Barboza is super live in this fight. This is a rematch between her and Karina Silva. She won the first fight. Karina Silva is tough. She is durable. Dion Barboza is tough. She is strong. She does have good submission defense. So I think that quick twitch muscle, that fast finish ability from Karina Silva is going to be something dampened here in this one. And I think Diony's going to be able to battle her on a physical level and be able to hang in there with her. So because of that, I fully expect us to get a back and forth battle, much like the first one. And I think Dion Barboza is just the more well-rounded MMA fighter. I think Silva is very, very reliant on her finishing ability to get fights done. So if it doesn't get finished, it's going to be close. I think it goes the distance, and I think Dione could pull off the upset. So getting a little bit better than 2-1 on her decision prop, that seems like the way to go for me. The next prop I want to talk about is my boy, Bryan Battle, by knockout. 6.37 in decimal odds, which is plus 537 for you guys over here, and I think it makes sense for him to find his way to a KO in this fight. We've talked about Nurullo. You guys know I do not believe. Bryan Battle is a vicious fighter. He is a finisher of the highest order. He wants to finish every single one of his fights. You do have to watch out for the sub because it's totally possible. He's a very good grappler. He does hunt those submissions, but we've seen in the last couple fights, especially from like Nurullo fighting my guy Dustin Stolfus, that he knows well enough what he's doing on the mat. Now, Bryan Battle does have longer, lankier limbs, so maybe he can find a choke where other shorter fighters wouldn't have been able to. But I think if Bryan Battle just gets on top of this guy, he can make him quit. I think he can pound him through the canvas. I can think he can use elbows, and once Nurullo is out of gas, he's been figured out, he's on his back, that's when Bryan Battle really will spring here. I kind of like inside the distance just to cover yourself just in case. Frankly, I like the money line straight up. But if we're looking at a prop, I think getting better than 5-1 on a KO prop for Bryan Battle, that's a very, very good way to go ahead and do this thing. Edson Barboza, round 3 sprinkle. You guys, it is 11-1 for Edson Barboza to win this fight in round 3. And actually, CloudBet is getting it even better for you guys. It is 15-1 on CloudBet for Edson Barboza to win this fight in round 3. I've talked about this. I love Drakkar Klose. He's my guy. I'm rooting for him, but we've seen him slow down. We've seen him get tired. We've seen those hands drop, and that is a death knell against a guy like Edson Barboza. Edson moving back up to 155 pounds. I don't trust his age. I don't trust his durability. None of those shenanigans, but I just see the one weakness with Drakkar that we've seen time and time again in his last couple fights is those hands dropping at the ends of rounds 2 and rounds 3. And we just saw Barboza go a full 25 minutes not too long ago, so I think he's still got the cardio to get in there. It all comes down to whether or not he lands that perfect, massive shot. So at 15-1, I think that's worth just a little tidbit of a sprinkle. Alexander the Great and Chase the Dream Hooper. I like Chase Hooper by decision, it is plus 185. So he is a minus 300 or higher favorite in this spot. Getting him by decision at plus money, I think, makes a ton of sense. And I know, we're the Chase Hooper inside the distance guys. We're the Chase Hooper round 3 TKO guys. Like, we're always looking for that opportunity, and Chase will absolutely go for that. If he gets into a dominant position, you might very well be in trouble. He can finish you with subs, he can finish you with TKOs, he can finish you with damage, ground and pound, whatever you want. And that right there is kind of the risk here with this bet, because Alexander Hernandez, no matter what kind of deep shit he's in, he absolutely finds a way to drag himself to a decision. Every fight. Never fails. Look at his last 6 fights in a row. Whether he's gassed in round 3, whether he's hanging on for dear life, he's doing whatever he can to survive, he makes it to the scorecards. So I think this is a Chase Hooper round 3 situation or a decision. If you can find a combo prop on Chase Hooper round 3 or decision, that's probably actually the better way to approach this. But at plus 185, I actually think you kind of sprinkle both of them maybe, and you cover yourself no matter what you want to do that way. So Chase Hooper by decision, like I said, is plus 185. Looking over here on CloudBet, Chase Hooper in round 3 is plus 750. So small sprinkle on the plus 750, small sprinkle or regular sized bet or whatever you want to do on the decision prop. Hopefully one of those hits and you end up with plus money. You just got to sweat that round 2, right? That's going to be the danger here on this one. The rest of the card gets interesting. Gerald Mirshart versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk by knockout is about even money. I think that's the move. I love Gerald Mirshart, I really do, but we're getting towards the end of his career. We're getting towards the twilight of his career. We all know this, and he has survived just heaps of damage to this point. And the way Oleksiejczuk is finally fighting with some confidence, the way he starts, how fast he is right out the gates, I think the hand speed is going to be a problem for Gerald Mirshart. I do think this is an under 1.5. I talked about that over on the Total Takedown because I fully expect that if Michal cannot get the knockout early, then he will give up the sub to Gerald Mirshart. That's happening. Like, it just matters, it comes down to whether or not he lands first. We saw that with the Kevin Holland fight. It's almost identical to what we're talking about here. He rocks Kevin Holland. Holland hits the deck, and he's stupid enough to follow him, and then Holland submits him with an armbar. Gerald can do exactly the same thing. But I think Gerald's durability, unfortunately, is slipping, and I think young Michal Oleksiejczuk, at a place with the Fighting Nerds, he will be showing improvements. I like Michal by KO. Aaron Pico makes his way over to the UFC, and he takes on Lerone Murphy in a massive fight for his first fight under the UFC banner in the co-main event. And I actually think that fight is going to be a barn burner that goes the full 15 minutes. Aaron Pico by decision is just slight plus money. Now, Aaron Pico himself is the favorite in this spot. I know a lot of people are betting on Lerone Murphy, so you're going to get, plus 150 or so on Lerone Murphy to win this thing by decision. It's not a huge value swing. He could win by knockout. That's the other thing that I kind of wanted to look at, that if he uses his wrestling in reverse, if he shucks off takedowns, if he makes Lerone Murphy stand with him, and if his power is what he's bragging about it to be or what everyone in the world seems to think that it is, plus 474 for him to win by knockout. Maybe worth a sprinkle, but I don't know. I've got a hard time betting against an undefeated guy like Lerone Murphy, who took Josh Emmett's best punch to turn around and get knocked out by this guy. It is on short notice, so you never know. With Pico having a camp versus Murphy not having a camp, that's definitely something that's possible. It could happen. Main event time, Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. This one is really tough, you guys, because I'm all team Dricus du Plessis. My hot take on this one, though, is that the fight lasts a little bit longer than people are expecting. So the knockout prop for my guy Dricus is all the way up at plus 626. Plus 626 for Dricus du Plessis to win by KO. Khamzat by sub is the one that I think we need to kind of highlight here and take a little bit of a look at. They're not giving you much of a break on that one. It's like plus 130. So you're not going to get a ton of value on Khamzat by sub, but again, you're getting a minus 250, minus 260 favorite, all the way down at plus money for his most likely method. But I think this fight is going to get up and over, you guys. I talked ever so briefly about how I think there's a sneaky chance this fight goes deeper than we're expecting, and we see an absolute war between these guys at the top of the weight class. Dricus du Plessis by decision is plus 578. Khamzat by decision is plus 4 89. Those are kind of the ways that I would look at this one. Maybe you take a crazy flyer on fight actually going the distance, which is about plus 250. Those are the ways I would be looking to play this fight, rather than taking those crazy finish props. Like, I know these two are hyped up as crazy finishers, but Dricus is hard to finish. Khamzat's never been finished. This is for all the marbles. It's the highest level MMA fight you could possibly have. Both guys are going to be absolutely on point. If it finishes, I actually think it finishes late rather than finishing early, and it may not finish at all. That's the hot take. That's Clint's Hot Props, brought to you by Cloudbet. One more time, guys, hit the link in the description below. Use promo code DIEHARD when you get signed up for that welcome bonus. Let's see you tomorrow for the undefeated post-weigh-in show, and let's roll.